Nikl-Brau, Michala, Dunkel Kellerbier.
And remember, life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I am not well. Well, I haven't been well. I'm getting a bit better now. And this will be my first beer in about a week, which is unheard of for me. But I was really ill. I had a cold and then I got my COVID jab and it absolutely knocked me for six. Now, I'm not saying don't get the COVID jab, but it didn't help that I had a cold when I got it. My arm come up like a fucking balloon. I had shivers that night. I thought I was going to die. I was having nightmares. Honestly, it was just horrific. But I'm not saying don't get it. I'm not saying get it. I'm just telling you what happened. So, with that in mind, this is my first beer in a week, and boy, am I looking forward to this. So, what I've done is I've pulled out a bottle of this stuff. This is the Dunkel Kellerbier from Nikl-Brau. Nikl-Brau are a microbrewery pub that are based in Upper Franconia, and they're based in what is known as Franconian Switzerland. Now, it's nowhere near Switzerland. Get that idea out of your head. It is north of Nuremberg, but the reason it's called Franconian Switzerland is because the landscape there is very reminiscent of the landscape in Switzerland. Now, if you've ever been to Switzerland, you'll know what a beautiful country it is. Quite boring, but it's beautiful to look at. I've been there twice, and we did a couple of gigs over there, and I found it very expensive and very cold. People were lovely, and the beer wasn't bad, I have to say. I quite liked it over there, but very boring at night. If it wasn't for our gigs that were going on, nobody during the week as well, nobody's out, especially in Zurich where we were. We went to Zurich, Basel and some other place. The name escapes me. It was the Back of Beyond. It was lovely, really nice place. And I was drinking Czech beer out there, believe it or not, and some of the local brews as well, and they were really nice. I was quite impressed. Anyway, nothing to do with Switzerland, this stuff. It's from Franconia, which of course, if Bavaria is the capital of brewing in Germany, then the capital of Bavaria for brewing is Franconia. They've got over 200 breweries there, and they produce some absolutely astonishing beer, really good stuff. I would say it's the best region of Bavaria. People go on about Munich, but for me it's Franconia. I think that's where the best beer comes from, the consistently best beer. Obviously Munich have got some fantastic breweries, I'm not knocking that for a second, but Franconia really has got some quality brewers and some quality breweries as well. So with that in mind, this is a Dunkel Kellerbier, which I don't think I've ever had one before. It's unfiltered naturally, and it's a dark beer, so it's got roasted malts in there, and I don't think I've had one. So this will be a first for me. And it's called Michala. That's what they've named it. And the brewery, quite young. I don't have an exact date for when they were founded, but I will tell you that the head brewer and the founder is only 30 in his 30s basically, so quite a young brewer comparatively when you compare it to other brewers that are around. So with that in mind, let's get it open and let's see what's going on. Before we do, I'll just give you a quick rundown on it. It is 500ml bottle. It is 5.1%, which differs from the website because that says it is 5.7. It's not, it's 5.1, and I've just seen here that this brewery was founded in 2008. Doesn't say, I didn't see it on the website, I'm not saying it doesn't say it on there. Everything on the back is in German, as you would expect. Quite hard to get hold of this stuff. I got it from the House of Trembling Madness, which is based up in the People's Republic of Yorkshire in York. And yeah, that's the fella's name, Mike Schmidt. He is the owner. And this beer is dedicated to the memory of his grandfather, Ludwig Hoffmann, who was a barman, or he owned a bar, and he was quite well renowned for running a tight ship, and that's dedicated to him. So yeah, that's really all I've got. I'm pretty sure it conforms to the Reinheitsgebot, but I have seen on their website they do some very, very interesting Doppelbocks, sherry infused, all kinds of stuff. They barrel aged, brandy infused Doppelbocks, which is unusual, especially in Bavaria. You know, with the Reinheitsgebot, you're not allowed to. Well, they say you're not allowed to add different ingredients, but I think that's all gone by the wayside now. The Reinheitsgebot is not a guarantee for good beer. It just means, well, it was founded or introduced so as people wouldn't be brewing beer with quality malt, which could be used for making bread. Obviously, bread is the priority. If you're, back in the 1500s, beer didn't really come into it. You could use any old malt for that. I think that's the only reason it was brought in, so people didn't use stuff that was going to be used for bread for making beer. That's the reason for the Reinheitsgebot. It's not a guarantee of good beer, as I've just said. It's all about the ingredients. That's what makes good beer. And of course, the most important aspect of it is, of course, how skilled the brewer is. You can have all the best ingredients in the world. It's like when you see chefs. If they haven't got good ingredients, the food they make is going to taste shit. I don't care who you are. Gordon Ramsay, if he's got mouldy cheese and fucking, I don't know, mouldy bread, it ain't going to be a nice cheese sandwich. So there you go. I don't care who you are. You're not going to turn a lump of dog shit into a chocolate roll. So there you go. Let's get it open. Let's see what's going on. Right. The cap is just plain brass colour. It's going in there. God, my arm. From that COVID injection, it's really hurting. And if you do get your injection, be prepared for a couple of days afterwards. It's going to hurt. I had mine on Wednesday. It is now Saturday, and it's still hurting. Whoa, that is a lively beer. I will say that. Now, there it is. Some could argue, I suppose, I'm looking at it, it could be argued that that is a land beer, but oh yeah, that does smell good. That smells really malty. Nutty as well, very, very nutty. Oh, it smells nice. This could be classed as a land beer, but they haven't. They've classed it as a Dunkel Kellerbier, which is, Dunkel's Kellerbier, which is interesting. As I say, I've never had one before. But I've had Dunkels before, certainly, but not unfiltered. There it is in the glass. The head is fucking massive, and that's because it's a lively beer. I did try and pour it properly, but it wasn't having it. Oh, that is really nutty. That's putting me in mind of the Inga Alt Irish Dunkel. It's got that real nutty roasted malt type aroma, and that's really all I'm getting. Or can you imagine there is a whiff of cigar smoke that I'm getting from this as well. Again, that's coming from the roasted malt, which is interesting. I want to get everything in there because there's bound to be floaters in there. There's just a little bit left in here, but yeah, here it is. Now that is quite cloudy. It's an amber colour, dark amber, cloudy. I really am liking that aroma. It's just sweet, nutty malt. Smells great. Let's get it down the hatch. Zum Wohl, as they say in Germany. Oh, that is good. That is really good. And I get where it's coming now, when it's saying it's a Kellerbier. You do get that element of the Kellerbier in there. Very, very slight sourness to it. I mean, it's so subtle, but it is there. And if you look at that now, that has gone full cloudy, or Naturtrüb, as they say in Germany. Oh. And that yeast has given it even more of a nutty flavour. But there is a slight bitterness to it, and this is where it differs from your usual Dunkel beer. This has got a bitterness to it on it, and that bitterness is what you get on Kellerbier. I've noticed it on Zwickelbier and Kellerbier, where you've got their suspended yeast. Now, you don't get that in in 90% of German Dunkels. That's all filtered out. And you're left with a quite clean caramel style malt. This is a bit more complex. It's more of the hop character coming through as well. And I think that's what's given it its bitterness, and that sort of shines through. It's like a peppery style bitterness, but the dominant flavour is the roasted malt, the nutty and sweet roasted malt, and altogether that makes a really nice beer, I have to say. Subtle caramel, sweet nuttiness, some bitter flavours on there as well, like black pepper, that give it a different style finish to your usual Dunkel. This is interesting. It really is. I sort of, when I looked at it, I thought, well, that's just an unfiltered dark lager, but it's not. It actually has got the characteristics of a Kellerbier, and that is a first for me. A dark Kellerbier. Honestly, I'm trying to think, and I don't think I have tasted one. I've certainly tasted Kellerbiers before, some really good ones as well. The Hacker-Shaw Kellerbier is just sublime. And of course, I've tried numerous Dunkels, but never like this. This is a cross section of the two, and I'd imagine, I could be wrong here, so don't try it, don't waste good beer because you might not like it. But if you did a blend of half Keller, half Dunkel, you may end up with something like this. Probably, I'd say you might need a little bit more Kellerbier in there. I'd say sort of 60-40, something like that. I'm liking it. I have absolutely no complaints about this whatsoever. Again, another winner from Bavaria. So what's the verdict on Nikl-Brau Michala Dunkel Kellerbier? Yeah, really nice. Considering they've only been going since 2008, they've done a cracking job on that. And I really like dark beers. German dark beers are one of my favourite styles of beer. Kellerbier, it's okay. I can't say I rant and rave about it, but there are a couple of really nice Kellerbiers that I've tried. But dark Kellerbier, for me, I really like it. There is a lot going for this beer. I like the sweetness of the malt, the nuttiness, but I also like the bitter finish that you get, and it's certainly different from your average German beer. Now, if you like Kellerbiers, I think you're going to like this. The flavours are a little bit more intense. If you like Dunkels, you may not be keen on that bitterness. Dunkels are usually, I find, quite sweet. There is a little bit of a kick, a hop kick at the end of this. It's German, a noble hop kick, so it's going to be spicy, and there's a little bit of bitterness on there, and it's nice, I have to say. If that was brewed by a British brewer, it would be an absolute fucking barnstormer. Everybody would be drinking it, it's that good. And I have to say, I'm impressed. However, it's not the best Kellerbier I've tasted, and it's not the best Dunkel I've tasted. So it sort of falls in between two stools, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And the reason I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10 is because I would prefer a Dunkel to this. So if, for example, I had a choice, now that I've tasted it, of having this or an Iyengar or a Paulaner Dunkel or a Hofbrau Dunkel, I'm always going to go with that. But I'll tell you something, this I would definitely buy again. I like it, it's interesting, it's got a lot going for it, and it comes across as being a credit to the brewer, in my opinion. Considering they've only been going since 2008, that is well worthy. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Definitely going to recommend it. I got this from the House of Trembling Madness. Contrary to popular belief, I did have to pay for it. And I'll tell you how much exactly it cost me. Oh, my bloody arm. Fucking hell, it's like someone's punched it and given me a fucking dead arm. Where are we? We have got Nikl-Brau Michala Lager. Oh, I brought a few of their beers actually. So they've got Michala Lager, yeah. That was $3.25. That is not too bad. I'm quite impressed with that. For $3.25, yeah. I think that's well worth a 9 out of 10. Definitely recommend it. And remember, beer is working class champagne.